The reason we only stock D'Addario strings is because D'Addario strings are perfect.
When people come in here, they think that we get them for free or something like that, but we don't. We have no other reason except for dependability and tone.
Hey, we're at the Cory Wong
Syncopated Summer Camp is what it's called. It's a little bit of a tongue twister. Yeah. We're here in Nashville, Tennessee. I've got a rhythm section camp going. A lot of my close friends and incredible musicians here. We're having a hang. We're having a blast.
Yeah, it's amazing. There's like 300 people here.
It's a lot of people, a lot of jams. We have a lot of rooms.
Yeah.
A couple hundred amps, 20 drum kits.
Right, gosh.
A lot of gear.
Yeah, that's a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
How
we could do
great.
a hotel rig rundown. It would take 6 hours.
Well, tell us about, okay, so is this your Fearless Flyers rig normally?
This is my current rig that I'm using now. With the Fearless Flyers, I typically have, when we record, I just plug direct.
Yeah.
Like for most of the albums, we just go direct in, but because some of the material is changing now, I'm starting to use some more effects and things like that. So my main rig is coming out of the Quad Cortex. I have a beta version of my Archetype Cory Wong Neural DSP plugin in here that will eventually, maybe even by the time this video comes out, be available for the Quad Cortex. But going in here, so that's what the amp sounds are. If it sounds really direct to you, it's because it's literally 2 DI lines going into that camera right now. But yeah, so that's the amps on there. I'm using the amp snob model that we did, which is based off of a Dumble and a Twin, kind of blended. And it's my main rig that I've been using. So I have a Shure wireless here. I don't remember, DLX16 or D6, I don't know. I know those numbers and letters are in there somewhere.
Sure.
I go there straight into the Quad Cortex. In the Quad Cortex, so this is what, and then I have it, the first thing on there is, what do I have? Envelope filter. And then from there, I have a pitch. Hardly ever use it, but sometimes it's fun just to have an option. And then I go into the effects loop of this. In the effects loop of this, it goes into the Wong compressor by Wampler. My favorite compressor, I wonder why. I helped develop it with Wampler. It's based off of the Ego compressor. I was using the Ego compressor for years, but had a handful of things that I wanted to tweak on it. Mostly just kind of how I wanted to round out the transient, but still make it punch. So it's kind of an upward limiting style compressor. And then there's also a boost and a DI out on that. So sometimes when I'm recording, if I'm just going direct, I'll use the Wong compressor, use the DI out of that.
Wow. Is that like kind of a leave on all the time pedal for you?
Yes, compressor is always on. And then there's also a boost here if I want just a clean boost.
Sure.
But the boost on that is nice because I have it voiced 2 different ways. One is just a flat volume boost, and the other, I can change it so it's more of a mid boost,
cool.
which is based off of the Clapton mid boost circuit
in his guitar,
in the Strat
how cool.
that he'd had. Yeah, so it kind of adds a different kind of tonal quality with the boost.
So is it something you can change on the fly, or
yeah,
like
it's just
preset?
a little knob here, mid boost or
easy.
just flat boost.
Oh, that's great. Yeah.
And then obviously the boost level.
Yeah, that's cool, because sometimes it's like, it's a whole thing to make a change like that.
Yeah. I don't have to get in there or do dip switches or anything. I didn't want to do any of that. I just want it right there.
Yeah.
So at any moment I can.
Because in the heat of battle, things change.
Yes.
Yeah.
And from there, I'm going into the Jackson Audio Optimist pedal, which is a dual overdrive EQ pedal that I helped develop with Jackson Audio. It's got 2 different types of overdrive. And then the other one, I could probably use that one more. and I stack them. Which is really fun. I like being able to stack them all in one pedal.
Yeah, it changes it all. Yeah, that's great. And then what is the hot one?
The EQ. So if I press, oh no, that's so the EQ part of the Optimist pedal, if I press both of them.
Oh.
The way that I have this, there's bass, middle, mids, and treble. I was never into EQ pedals.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden Brad Jackson was like, dude, listen to me. Just EQ is great. It's useful. I'm like, really? And he's just like, I'm going to give you an EQ pedal. Check it out. See what it does for you. Yeah. If we want to add it into this pedal or if you want it just to be overdrive. And I was completely convinced because what I use right now, the bass and treble just stay flat, but I do a little bit of a mid bump. And where we place it, it's kind of, I don't know, I turn this EQ on because it's like instant Mayer tone. So it makes my Strat do a little more of the Mayer thing.
Oh yeah. Now when it's in EQ setting, can you still use the drive?
Yep.
Oh God, that's great.
Yep. So you can go all three are independent from each other.
Wow, a 3-in-1. Boy,
yes.
Talk about economy. Everything is just right there.
Yeah. And then it goes into what is. Can I talk about it? I don't know when this is going to come out. Sure.
Sure, talk about it.
This is a prototype pedal that I've been working on that's a volume wah expression.
Oh, cool.
So it's a volume pedal normally.
I love the lights on the side. Yeah. Having that visual cue to know where it is, that's great.
Yes, it's green when it's volume, and then I kick it on this way, and when it's blue, I know it's wah.
That's great.
Yeah. So it can either be by a switch on the side, it can be just volume, it can be just wah, or it can be volume wah, or it can be an expression pedal that can control things like the quad Cortex, any of the Line 6 stuff.
Yeah.
Anything that would need an expression pedal. So this, again, it's about economy. It's like this is 3-in-1, this is 3-in-1.
Right.
I didn't want to, I'm trying to keep my pedalboard a little smaller.
Sure. Oh, it's the ultimate, fly everywhere kind of setup. That's great.
They had a great pedal called the Soul Press that I was using for a while. This volume wah, and then I just kind of wanted to tweak a couple things with it, and it felt like a great wah, but it didn't feel like it had the classic wah thing that I was looking for.
Sure.
So worked on that. Worked on the volume sweep because it can either be like this, or it can be like this, or it can be like this. The volume sweep of a pedal, I just wanted to dial that in and really get custom with it.
So is it adjustable, or you just found the sweet spot and that became the standard?
I found the sweet spot for the volume, and I just wanted it to be that. I didn't want anybody to have options because this is what I think is right. Or what,
Yeah. Well, I mean, most of them are kind of set it and forget it, but I find some brands, not naming some of them, that they're not where I want it.
Sure. Yeah.
So
exactly. So this one,
cool
it feels really musical to me, the way that it is, and it feels like it's not just an engineer, like, well, let's get from here to here.
Yeah.
It's like, well, in musical settings, this is what I want. So we tapered the volume that way. But the wah settings you can change for more classic or more modern, and then you can change where the cue of it is by a little knob on the side. So that's tweakable.
Yeah, that's really clever.
And I wanted that because I know that not everybody wants the exact same wah thing that I have, and it's nice to have.
That's more of a personal thing.
Yeah, totally. So then from here, effects loop back in, and I'm using, well, on this preset I have, what do I have? I think I have a phaser. Then I have a Leslie.
That's great.
Leslie, it's great. I love this. There's a bunch of different options in there, and I just found the one I liked.
Yeah, and you're running into this cab, is that right? Just for stage volume?
Yes, so everything is going direct out. Can I go through the chain? My brain is going to be like, if I don't go.
Yeah, please.
So from there, I also have a delay So, oh, this is too slow. Hold on, let me. So I have delay, stereo delay. I use the tape delay on here, and that way also if I'm going, it kind of does that thing.
Love that. It gets all analog-y. Yeah. Oh yeah, that's half the fun.
Yeah. So that's the delay that I like, and then I use a big modulated reverb for.
Oh yeah, beautiful.
And then really, I mean, that's kind of my main rig that I'm using. Sometimes I have this thing where I use a freeze, and then I can. So it's nice, I can kind of lay down a little bit of a pad and create an atmosphere with that. That's pretty much what I'm using in here. There's a couple other effects that are great, and
although you're not really an effects guy, it seems like.
Well, I am. I'm not known for being one, but
it's subtle. It's to me, like I rarely hear delay with you. You know, rarely. It's just that great syncopated. You know.
Yeah, it's fun. And then from there, I go multi-out. You can do all kinds of routing out of this thing, but I have outputs 1 and 2 out of the XLR, which are right now going straight into that camera, or they would typically just go right to front of house.
Yeah.
And then 3 and 4 is into this cabinet. That's a stereo cabinet, left and right. So it is still getting the stereo thing, but it's all just in one. I sometimes will have 2 different cabinets.
Yeah.
Sometimes I'll use actually EV monitors. I have a couple EV monitors that I set up that sound really great, that replicate my tone really wonderful. There's the new Fender cabs that are FR cabs that are cool. I've played through a bunch of different ones. This is the one I have a road case for, so I bring this one out and
decisions made. Yeah.
And I have a bunch of my other amps here. That one's Mark's, but the other ones, it's just fun. We're at a music camp. It's just nice to have a bunch of my amps around, and sometimes I'll play into them or whatever. But really, for my sounds, I'm going out of this because I like it.
Now, when you in the Fearless Flyers, you're switching between this. You and Mark switch between this and baritone.
There's actually only one song that I play baritone on, and it happens to be the song that is the most popular. So I don't know. Maybe Mark and I should have switched. Maybe we screwed up. Maybe that was the right configuration.
No, man, it's you know.
But no, he's the baritone cat. So
yeah. So when you did that, did you just jump on his rig?
Yeah, we just switched.
Oh, great.
He's like, I don't know, and sometimes I'm like, wait. He's like, oh no, this one is.
Oh, okay.
And I know he's been like, well, how come is it? They're like, oh no, this is muted, but this is down. So like, do this, and then. So we've learned to just set each other's rigs to be on and turn the volume off here when we switch. Yeah.
No decisions to make. That's great. And your signature Strat.
Yes, this is the Cory Wong signature Fender Stratocaster. This one is straight off the rack. I actually have a founder's model, we call it.
Wow.
I got this because when I was doing my podcast with John Mayer, he was like, why don't you have one that's like just for you? It's like, I don't know, I like the one off the rack. He's like, yeah, but you should have a custom master built one, the founder's model. I'm like, okay, sure. So I asked them to. It says founder's model. This is the bound
fingerboard. I love that.
Yeah, I just figured, that's the one special thing for me.
Right.
Austin at the custom shop, he's a great master builder. Built this one. You know, I'm not a guitar stand guy. Look at that. I can't trust that.
Exactly. Yeah.
What is going on there?
Yeah.
Look at this thing.
Yeah.
That thing's pathetic.
Yeah.
I'm not a guitar stands guy. But anyways, the founder's model, that is one. It's an incredible guitar, but also just like, this one is straight out of Sweetwater.
God, isn't that great? You could be anywhere in the world and lose your guitar, go to a Guitar Center or whatever, and get
insane.
One you can play. Yeah.
Yes, and I mark it. So this one, it says 1. Actually, it doesn't say 1. It was me just going, this is the one that because I have a handful of them. Sometimes I'll tune one to E flat or something, but this one is the one I've been traveling a lot with, and it's just you know, sometimes the guitar is made out of the right piece of the tree.
Right, right.
You know, it feels great. And I'm not that attached to it either. I've done things, I've played tours on a guitar, and then at the end of it, auction it off and
Sure.
Donate all the money to this organization called Free Guitars for Kids,
Oh,
where
how wonderful.
they get guitars in the hands of kids that would not otherwise be able to have an instrument. And then,
And fans get a guitar you've actually toured
Yes.
with. That's huge, yeah.
so this one eventually I'll sell to raise some money, and then I'll find another one that I love. And
Yeah.
this one's also here. It's only ever going to be mine.
Yeah.
And it's also incredible.
It's great.
Yeah.
And we've covered this before, but what strings are you using?
Ernie Ball 10s. I sometimes use Paradigms, sometimes just use the straight up Slinky.
Yeah.
Paradigms are what I normally use.
I like the Paradigms.
Yeah. It doesn't help to sell strings, but when I say this, but I change my strings like once every 3 months.
Wow.
My fingers don't sweat.
Wow, that's
I mean,
shocking.
in one regard, it's a testament to the strings.
Right.
Because it's like they last forever, and
Right.
I never am like, oh, I don't, like the tone is gone. My fingers just, they don't really sweat.
That's shocking because you're such a percussive player, and you know you would think that it would I don't know, that intonation or tuning ability would kind of slip or whatever. But God,
Yeah, I don't know.
that's
the strings.
inspiring.
Yeah, the strings.
I'm changing too much.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, these
Yeah.
have been on for, I don't even know how long.
Yeah.
I don't remember the last time I changed strings, honestly.
Wow.
I did an Asia tour. I did a Europe tour with Wolfpack. I've done a bunch of festivals. We've been here at camp all week. I think I changed my strings in Beijing.
That is shocking.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay, Ernie Ball, good on you.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
I mean, they're incredible strings, and the guitar is great. It makes itself, you know, all of it goes into it.
Yeah, how great, man. And it's great that you've got your signature. Mark's got his signature. Very different.
Yeah.
Very different. But
It's really fun.
Yeah, works
Different
great
functions.
together.
Yeah.
Great. Well, Cory, thanks so much and congratulations. God, this camp.
It's really fun.
Multiple bands, the whole
Yeah.
enchilada.
Yeah, it's awesome. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, great. Well, okay, let's talk to your
Let's
partners
get Mark.
in crime.
Where's Mark?
What strings are you running?
These are D'Addario NYXLs.
And the D'Addario NYXL.
But they're D'Addario strings, and I've been using those since forever, and I love them.
Dario strings as well.
D'Addarios.
Right.
D'Addario. I've been using D'Addario.
I'm a fan of D'Addario.
Started using these D'Addarios.
I like the D'Addario NYXLs.
These are D'Addario, and I got the NYXLs on here.
Okay, now we're with Mark Lettieri. Mark, thanks so much for joining us.
My pleasure, John. Good to be here, man.
Yeah. Okay, let's hear about this signature guitar.
Okay, this is the PRS Fiore, and I just realized I'm wearing the Fiore shirt with the Fiore guitar.
That is so
Company
perfect.
man.
Yeah,
There's the logo. Yeah, thanks, Mom. She designed this. This is the Fiore guitar, Swamp Ash body, maple neck, 25.5-inch fretboard. It sounds really nice.
Oh, God, great. Now, when we did your last rig
Here, you
rundown, you
talk,
didn't
I'll
have
play.
this one, did you?
No, I had another guitar, a lovely old Don Grosh guitar, and we ended up designing this one back in started in 2019, kind of ended 2019, did it all pretty much through the pandemic. The joke is it was a lot of trips to FedEx. It's just they would send a prototype and I would tweak something, send it back, but it's sort of the culmination of a lot of my favorite guitars that I've had throughout the years in my career, and we did some funky stuff with the pickups. It's got like 11 different combinations of switching. Yeah, so this is a push-pull that engages these two. This is a series parallel for the humbucker. So it's kind of like a bit of a Swiss Army knife, kind of do it all.
Right.
Session player guitar.
You know, PRS does that really well.
They do.
They
really
cover it all.
Yeah. So it was a dream working with them, and I'm real proud of what we came up with.
Is it an ash body?
Yeah, Swamp Ash body.
How cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, and those big frets, man.
They're pretty big. I don't know if they're enormo fret
They
size,
look-
but they're.
I don't know if it's the maple board, but they look
Could be.
biggish.
Yeah, I mean, I don't mind a little bit of weight under the frets. They're nickel frets, and these are 10-gauge strings, and we got a 2-post trim with this kind of cool weighted trim bar, so you can kind of do the trim dance.
Right.
I'm trying to turn on some delay there. Oh, there we go.
Oh, yeah.
So it's a very sensitive tremolo, which I like because I like, a lot of my heroes are trem players.
Oh yeah. It's that whole Jeff Beck expression thing.
Of course.
So so that trem, that's not like a conventional PRS trem?
No, it's the only other one I think that has a 2-post is the SE Silver Sky, perhaps. Someone
Really?
on the internet could correct me, but I believe that's what
and
it
they
is.
will.
So,
Well,
won't they?
Yeah.
And so that shares some DNA with this one. And I come from that. I'm used to that. And Paul said, "Cool, man. We'll do it." So
yeah,
it was nice. Yeah.
Yeah,
Thanks,
yeah,
Paul.
yeah, great, yeah, great guy.
So.
Okay. Yeah, all the settings you could ever hope for.
Yeah, I mean, like this is a really cool. So I love the sound of these two together for the funk.
Are you talking about like which two?
So this is just neck and bridge together.
Yeah, I love that combination.
Yeah.
You can't get it on a Strat normally.
Without some extra wiring. We just do a push-pull here. Right, and then you can kind of thin it out a little bit with the series parallel. So it does a lot of stuff, dude. Like, it's a fun. It's one of those things where it's like, you got a gig, you might be playing a lot of different kinds of music. What guitar are you gonna bring? You can bring one guitar. You bring this one.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, good for you. Okay, that's
thanks.
great.
Yeah. So,
all right, cool. Well,
what's next?
Let's talk about the pedals. What do you got here on the floor?
I got a couple things. Let's see. This is actually a cutting board.
Oh, really?
You could do fruits and vegetables on.
Sure.
And I had put it together. It was kind of a hot mess.
Was your wife like, "Where's the cutting board?"
We have so many of them. As you know, they accumulate in the kitchen, and you just find the one that you haven't used in a while that happens to fit a couple of your favorite pedals. I had a buddy of mine, Brian O'Million, kind of like rewire it to make it not as terrible as when I had made it myself. But first it goes into the Keeley Custom Shop Edition Monterey pedal, which is really cool. I use it for the rotary sound, this thing. Right, blues all day.
Yeah.
And then there's also a great fuzz side, which by itself is kind of this cool. But I use the fuzz, really, I don't use it by itself. I use it as like a boost for the other pedals that follow it, which are these drives. Same goes for the second pedal in line, which is a Pigtronics Octafuzz, which by itself it's pretty gnarly.
It kind of sounds like the teacher from Charlie Brown.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Right. So that's a good sales pitch.
Yeah. Oh yeah. You gotta get that tone. Yeah.
So anyway, and then next in line is this overdrive pedal that I designed with J Rocket Audio, which is the Melody Drive. We snuck my initials in there.
Oh, very cool.
So you got the M and the L, and what's kind of neat about it is it's sort of based on their Blue Note pedal, which is an old overdrive. I think they still make it, but I was using it a lot. And they're like, well, why don't we try this thing with this 6-band EQ we've been working on? So instead of a tone knob, you have the 6 bands, low, mids, and highs. So you can really kind of sculpt it to fit your amp, to fit whatever backline you ended up with on the gig.
Sure,
as
right,
you know.
right. Not uncommon.
Right, and it's just like a nice, smooth, crunchy middle gain overdrive.
That's great.
And so
boost in the upper mids.
I think so. It's almost flat. You know what? I'll put it actually how I normally do it. But yeah, I do. I think it's been.
It's funny. I'm like studying, thinking,
this
is just a sweet
we've
spot.
been moving our pedal boards around every 10 minutes on this stage, so stuff's probably gotten a little bit knocked out of whack. But
okay.
Right. So it's a really beautiful sounding pedal.
Yeah.
And then after that is the J-Rocket HRM drive, which is based on, I guess, like a modded Marshall. A Dumble modded. This is why I don't do gear videos. It's like, because HRM actually stands for Hot Rubber Monkey, which is a strange thing to say out loud. But apparently it also stands for Hot Rodded Marshall. But I guess they couldn't say that, so they said, I'm going to get sued by somebody. But it's more of a higher gain, all things considered. It's more of a higher gain drive. Right?
Yeah, you can really hear the monkey.
Yes. So what I'll do for maybe like lead tones is like kind of keep that on, but then click on the melody. A little bit more of that sustain. So that would be kind of like my lead tone, but then check this out. You can play the melody with like the octave fuzz. And it kind of smooths it. It takes a little bit of the Charlie Brown out.
Right.
Puts a little more Lucy or so.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, that's so
cool.
cool.
I like to combine the melody with maybe the other fuzz, and you get the... It's sort of like fake Eric violin-y sound, right?
Yeah.
Who doesn't want that? This is the closest I can get.
Yeah.
You know, I'm
it's awesome.
Trying to sound like Mark Lettieri doing Eric Johnson, which could be a mess. But anyway, what do we have next? Oh yeah, I have a phase shifter. I love phase. This is a MXR Deep Phase. And I think actually, you know what, this might be routed into the effects loop of the plethora, so it actually is before the drives. I think yeah, that's what's happening. But anyway, I love the phase shift for the funk, you know. It's great, I love phase. And I'd use a ton of that on the Flyers gig with the baritone. It's kind of part of the sound. I'm sort of like the keyboard player in that band.
Right.
In a funny way. We'll get to the baritone in a second. Dunlop volume pedal is great for swells, or if I don't know the part, I just roll the volume back. And
when in doubt, hang out.
When in doubt, lay out. That's right, yeah. And then we have sort of like the brain here, which is the TC Electronics, hooked on phonics, Plethora X5, which is a really fun pedal. You can grab 5 of your favorite TC noises and set them up in any order you want. I have a harmonizer because I have a tune on one of my solo records that does sort of like the Wild Stallions, right?
Yeah.
So there's that. We do that gag in the show. But then I have a chorus, which is just a really kind of nice 80s sounding. Lush chorus. I have this is a quarter note delay that I usually speed up and just barely there kind of slap thing. I have this is a quarter note and an eighth note. It's supposed to be like an echoplex. I usually run 2 amps. This is a stereo out, but for the Flyers we'll just do 1. And then a reverb, which I think is the Hall of Fame reverb set to a Hall reverb. So it's just kind of in there.
Yeah. And you can run all of them at once?
Yeah. I'll play in D so that the harmonizer works.
Yeah, end of the night, stomp on everything.
Anybody coming to that gig. But yeah, so the most I'll ever do is maybe both of those delays, a verb and the 2 drives, if it's like, you know, we're doing the Flying Unicorn song in my set. You know, I have the song called Spark and Echo, which is kind of this like guitar thing. And so that we might soar into the stratosphere there. But for the Flyers, we can talk about the baritone now. I mean, that's the board.
Actually, yes, let's talk about the baritone.
Yeah. Oh, we have the amp. We forgot about the amp. Can't forget about the amp. I got a lot of PRS stuff. I as a company man, you know?
Yeah.
So
they're great. That's a great.
These are really cool rigs. It's the Hendrix 20. I use the 50 watt sometimes too, which is very loud, but very cool. That's like an EL34 platform. I think this is a 5881. these are great. 2 of these in stereo with this rig sounds beautiful to me.
Yeah, I'm sure.
It's got plenty of power. I've done Snarky Puppy shows with this exact rig, and it works great. I like clean amps and then just hit them with pedals for the drive. But this thing does like the cool kind of plexied, fuzzed out thing if you hit the gain with it. So that's what we're using for the amp for today. And then I'll get the baritone out for you.
Yeah, let's hear that beast.
Check it out, silent cables.
Yeah.
Revelation cable, make great stuff. Would you mind holding
Yeah,
this?
of course. Well,
For a guitar camp, we have not a lot of guitar stands. I noticed. Here, I'll put it back in the stand.
Yeah.
All right, so then this is a 277 baritone by Paul Reed Smith that I did a little bit of modification to, because you notice the pickups are not the same.
Yeah. What are those weirdos you put in there?
These are Lawlers. This is a P90 and this is like a gold foil sound.
Oh.
Kind of with the Flyers, I've used a couple different baritones, but this one is nice because it was a little dark when I first got it, so I took the humbuckers out. And now it's just bright enough to be funky, but still chunky enough to play some of the, because I do a lot of the leads in the band, and so I need something that kind of cuts a little bit more. So usually for the Flyers stuff, I'll actually switch patches. If I could do this right, I hit this 3 times, tap that up once, and there we go. Now we're in the Flyers patch, which is some of the same stuff down here. Really the only thing that's changed now is the TC. So now I just have a kind of a more pronounced slap.
Right.
I'll throw on a compressor maybe. You know, I should also tune. We can cut and I'll I'll tune this.
Oh, it sounds,
But you know, that's part of the
video, charm.
Right?
It sounds bigger when you.
It sounds bigger when it's out of tune.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Big.
Like I said, a lot of things have been moving around on this stage this week. So, but anyhow, you know what? Probably for the Flyers thing, I probably won't put the compressor on, just because I really only use the compressor if I'm switching between the Fiore and this on like a Mark Lettieri gig or something. So it just kind of keeps the volume even, so the front of house person doesn't freak out. But so this would be kind of the sound for a lot of the Flyers kind of stuff. Right, or whatever, you know. Sort of like baritone, kind of thing.
God, and to hear you and Joe in unison on those
really
lines,
cool, it's always fun.
Oh,
it's
God,
a fun gig, man.
It's so clean and perfect. You guys are just locked.
It's an interesting role because I can double what Joe's doing, or I can support what Cory's doing, or I can kind of do my own thing in the middle. So it's nice to have that kind of freedom. But
and it's interesting too, because you kind of sometimes you're in bass territory, sometimes you're in guitar territory.
I gotta, I have to listen. We were talking about in one of the master classes, listening to your bandmates, so you
know
what to play, when to play.
Right, it's like, hey man, you're stepping on my frequency.
Exactly, yeah. So I'll goof around with some of the similar effects. Like I like to use that fuzz lead tone we were talking about with this band, because it kind of gives it that kind of gritty energy. And then this is kind of a funky sound. This is the TC Sub and Up Octaver, and I think it's called the Cembalo Shake, and I use it for leads. It's just really strange.
It's songs for the clinically insane. Yeah.
That'll be the name of the next record, guys. You hear that? So that's a fun lead tone. And that's kind of it. I mean...
Yeah. Okay. So what strings do you use?
Okay. Well, there's 10s on the Fiore, and then this one is they're both Dunlop brand, 72 to 14. So 72 on the bottom, 14 on the top. I tune in A.
Yeah.
So this is an A.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. A is not a bad transition.
Sometimes I mean most of these come in B.
Yeah.
But
which I find
a
little awkward.
Yeah, it works for some things. You know, if I'm composing on the baritone, usually it's just like, some songs feel better in A, some songs feel better in B, and then you just kind of go with it. But all the Flyers stuff were tuned in A.
Yeah. So what picks are you using?
I use Dunlop 1mm cellular. I got my little signature and little logo on there.
Standard of the industry.
Man, they sound great. They feel great. They come in packs of 80 billion.
Yeah.
So if I lose one, I just.
Isn't it funny? I mean, that's like the formula that was around forever.
Yeah.
And then it's changed 100 times,
Yeah.
and yet has this resurgence.
My view on picks is whatever you can use that you feel great, sound great on, and if you lose, you're not going to be too bummed out about it.
Right.
So,
right. Yeah.
That's it.
And recording-wise, what's going on? I think you guys all have stuff
We
happening.
all have projects. I put out a record called Can I Tell You Something that just came out. I'm really proud of it. Cory just did an amazing record with the Metropole Orchestra that came out. The Fearless Flyers, when did our record come out? February maybe of 24? It's recorded live at the Blue Note in New York.
Oh, how
6
cool.
new tracks. We did it all live over a couple nights.
God, yeah, that's
Super awesome.
Yeah, talk about easy recording. Just turn it on and go.
Yeah, and I think we played, Cory and I played Fender Twins, I think, and then they took a DI line for like extra. We didn't like overdub anything, but like they took for extra mixing sparkles and things like that, compression, all that sort of stuff. So, but yeah, this was the board that I used for that recording. I'm pretty sure that's the board that Cory used for that recording too. So,
well, I mean, I've seen those videos, and you're just like in the room. It looks like the most casual get together, everywhere with the stands.
Yeah, well, I know it's like the stands aren't here, but that was a visual choice by Jack Stratton of Wolfpack to kind of give it this whole element.
I love it.
It really worked out.
Yeah. To me, I thought it all kind of looked like
Get
Devo.
used to playing it.
Yeah. Oh God.
Because I like to move, but
it had to be awkward, right? Just to.
It took some getting used to.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'm still used to it.
Yeah.
I'm still here, so.
Yeah. Well, you were untethered today.
Yeah, we're gonna be jumping off the drum throne and
as you do,
swinging from the rafters, a la Eddie Vedder, of course.
Right. Well, there you have it, the Fearless Flyers.
Cool, thanks, John.
Yeah. Till next time, y'all.
Peace.